anybody wants to join me, please let me know. That will be awesome. So, and you'll notice we're going Julia's tempos today. So she's in Morocco, so she wonderfully recorded things for us. So we're going her tempo, rumba or whatever it is. So it's so wonderful to see you today. And as you heard in the preview for Time for Discovery, we are diving into the Gospel of John. The first 18 verses are known as the prologue, and we are studying the prologue several weeks in a row. It is interesting stuff. So the prologue snippet we got last week was talking about how Jesus was created. He was there at the beginning, that in the beginning there was a Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and Jesus was there in the beginning, and all created things came into being through this Word. So all creation passed through Jesus. Then, today, we're going from creation to the theme of light. So John talks about creation and how Jesus, the Word, was in the beginning before creation, and then John introduces light. John is introducing us to Jesus. Who is Jesus? The other Gospels, when they introduce Jesus to us, they talk about a genealogy, Mary and Joseph, a baby. John talks about the Word and light, that Jesus is light. And what about this light? Jesus is light, Jesus is life, but not just life, he is life light. He is life light for everybody, not just the privileged. Life light for all. Jesus is light in the darkness. And I love this translation. Jesus is unextinguishable light. Oh, I got to look back. I need a little bit more there. And Jesus is true, enlightening light. True, enlightening light. Again, for all, not just a few. And then, as if to emphasize it, John's gospel also says later, he has these famous I am statements. Jesus says, I am the light of the world. Okay, everybody got the point there? Jesus is light. Jesus is light. John is very taken with Jesus being light, 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 light. The writer of John also, when he talks about who is Jesus, Jesus is light, he also, the writer says, and now I'm going to introduce you to somebody else, not just Jesus. I'm going to introduce you to Jesus' cousin, John, also named John, not the gospel writer, John the Baptist. John the Baptist is introduced way at the beginning of John's gospel, and John the Baptist's job or his introduction is that he is one who finds light. So there is light. You can have light all over the place, but it sure is helpful when you have somebody who can point to the light, find the light, have skills to find the light. That's what John does. He is a light finder, a light sharer, and he doesn't just do it for thrills. It's not just a hobby. He does it so that people can access light. People can get light. So, summary here is Jesus is light. John the Baptist is a light finder. And we people apparently need light. We need enlightenment. So that's what's going on at the beginning of the Gospel of John. So there's Jesus, there's John, there's us, and it's all wrapped up in light. So let's dig in a little bit more about how Jesus is light. There is that passage. I'm going to just pause there. How is Jesus light? So we've been talking about light, light, light. Now, what do you guys say? John says Jesus is light. What does he mean by that? Or what do you think? John thinks, where's he headed? What does that mean to you? So I'm sincerely pausing and looking for input from you. How is Jesus light? Go for it.
He's showing us the path.
He shows us the path. Jesus is light. What does that mean? Yeah.
Jesus is a model of behavior, and in that way he's a light.
Okay, Jesus is a light. We look to Jesus like be light, like he is light. Jesus is light. What else? Words? Words are the light. Like his words provide light. Yeah, his words provide light. They are guidance, or this is the way we should go. Other thoughts about Jesus being light? He leads us into the light. It changes us. Okay, and I think that's my next. I was kind of curious about how Jesus is light. And when Jesus says, I am light of the world, read that whole verse. I am the light of the world. Follow me and never walk in darkness, but have the light of life. So I am the light. Follow me, and you will never walk in darkness. Isn't that incredible advice? You know, you're sitting there, you're thinking about stuff, you're wondering, which way do I go? What makes sense? Follow Jesus. And in Jesus, there is no darkness at all. Wow. Follow him. Leave the darkness of sin, despair, whatever it is, our old selves behind. Not be in darkness, but also have the light of life. The light of life. So that's in John 8:12. So I was kind of curious what, as usual, we say, what's the context? When we look at the Bible, we kind of look ahead, we look behind. What's going on there? And I was really struck this week about when Jesus says, I am the light of the world. You know what happened just before that? In John 8, 1 through 11, it's quite a famous story that even people outside the church have heard of it. It's a pretty epic story. It's a story we could tell again and again, and maybe we need to tell it more often. But in this story, there is a woman who is accused of adultery, and there is a group of people who want to, you know the story? They want to stone her to death. So they bring her out, and they're going to kill this woman. So there's a group of people that are going to kill somebody. And Jesus comes into that situation, and he says to the group, whoever is without sin, you can throw the first stone. So are you guys without sin? And everybody in the group is too ashamed of their actions, of what they're doing. That's a good form of shame. And they back away, and they stop what they're doing. Jesus' words stop what's going on there. And then Jesus speaks to the woman. So is there anybody here who's going to condemn you? And she's like, no, there's nobody here to condemn me. And then Jesus says, neither do I. I do not condemn you. So I'm thinking practical advice about light. Very practical advice about light. Light is not just this science thing. Light is not just this woo-woo spiritual thing. Oh, follow the light. No, light tells you how to live your life. And if there is an injustice and you keep silent, you are not a follower of Jesus Christ. Because Jesus Christ bears light in situations that are ugly and gnarly. The very next verse, after Jesus steps into this cruel, judgmental, violent situation, right after he steps in and confronts people non-violently, helping them be a little enlightened about their behavior, he says, right then and there, I am the light of the world. That's what I mean about it. It's not some little spiritual woo-woo thing. It is broadly applicable to gnarly situations. Jesus is light. John points to the light, and people who follow Jesus Christ are light bearers. So hopefully that's something we do at church. We don't just talk about it woo-woo or it's just this intellectual thing. We take it seriously. Jesus is light. John points to the light because we need help finding the light. Hopefully our church helps people find light and talk about light. And then we are enlightened, not just for our personal edification, and isn't that nice? We are enlightened so that we can be light bearers in the world. So we do stuff at church. We do a lot of stuff at church about light. Remember our last liturgy with our lighthouse? We have a lighthouse. We might want to lift up today that it is a lighthouse. And we had a beacon. We do stuff at church so that we practice stuff and think about stuff so that when we go out in the playground or the classroom or our workspace or even the fellowship space or in a meeting or at our job or at the grocery store and we see stuff that's not right, we can think, church has something to say about this. Jesus said something about this. Light, light, light. If I follow Jesus, there is no darkness, and I'm an agent of light. So we have our light. I think I got a picture of our lighthouse. Oh, okay, theology. Another piece of theology here. When we're around Jesus, when we experience the light of Jesus, we are enlightened. So that's a thing. We see the light and then we wonder. So that's something hopefully we do at church too. We experience the light and then we think, there's something else in there in the world of light. It impacts us. It changes us. Light. But then you might be wondering, there could be occasions where we don't feel light. You don't have to admit this, but was there an occasion in your life this week or ever where maybe you weren't feeling the light for yourself, or you were in a situation that you thought, that doesn't seem like light of the world to me? What is up with that? Isn't it supposed to be Jesus is light, John points to light so that people are enlightened and light. But what if there's no enlightening happening? So we got to think this through so that we're ready. Whether we're experiencing it right now or we're experiencing it later on, either within ourselves or a situation. That's what we got to do today, is practice up a little bit so that we can be ready to bear Christ's light in situations. So, number one, if we aren't experiencing light, or there is a situation that does not have light in it, as defined earlier, I think our first step is to say, Houston, we have a problem. There's something going on that that we got to think about. We got to name it. I'm not feeling light. Maybe am I a little depressed? Have I been harmed? Is there a mistake, a distortion I need to think about? I need some light. Do I need to take a little break, get some Sabbath, charge my battery? Situation. Trusting our instincts, listening to our instincts. Is there light there? Is there not light there? So just developing our sense of that's a thing. Some things appear to not have light. So when we experience that, I want you to remember you have options. When you're not feeling light or there's no light there, you have options. Because remember back to the beginning of the Gospel of John? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word was there in the beginning with God. And what came in all creation, all that got created came through the Word. So all created matter came through the Word, came through Jesus, who is the light. So we have light in our very being because we were created through Jesus Christ. Another creation story says we're all created in God's image. In John's creation story, we were created in Jesus Christ, who is the light. So light is in our spiritual DNA. Sometimes we may not feel it, but is really, truly a thing that we have light within us. Don't forget that. So you may know that coming up this week, is there going to be more light or less light scientifically here in Omaha, in the Northern Hemisphere? Less light. So let's prepare ourselves for darkness. Okay, you guys ready? Let's get ready because we know darkness is coming. So let's get ready. Let's look at the facts. One of my favorite places to go on the web is Time and Date. And I check out when is the sunrise, when is the sunset, how much light is there. So there's our little handy chart for today, December 14, through the end of the month, December 27. You guys know what's happening this month? Let's walk through a little science here, right? Let's science the heck out of this. So let's see. Let's talk about, I think I've got sunset first. Let's take a look at sunset. Did you know that the earliest sunset has already happened for the year? So it depends on, you could say it's December 7 or 8. You guys have already succeeded. You've passed that milestone. You know, I noticed it when I picked John up last night at about 5 o'clock from UNO. I'm like, it seems so light out. But you know what? It was just like 1 extra minute. But it was a minute of extra light. A minute of extra light. So already, each day, you're getting a little more light at sunset. Appreciate that this week, even though it's the darkest week, right? Okay. So you're like, well, how come it's darker this week? Well, you're gaining at sunset, but what's happening? Sunrise. Let's take a look at it. So the latest sunrise, friends, isn't until January. So we're going to still lose a couple minutes there at sunrise. So we're going to get through it, aren't we? We're practicing. We're going to get through it. We're strategizing, right now. So it's coming. So what's next Sunday then? Science. Yeah, it's the shortest day. 9 hours. 9 hours, 11 minutes, 47 seconds. Not that I'm counting. What's your strategy? What are you going to do to get through this dark time? Ideas? Got any ideas how you're going to get through this dark time?
Sing more Christmas songs.
Sing more Christmas songs. That's a great idea. How about some other ideas? Yeah? Create. Do something creative. Other things to get through this darkest week. Turn on more lights.
When the sun's out, get out in it.
When the sun is out, get out in it. That came up in a meeting this week.
Open the curtains on the light side so you get it in your home.
Open the curtains on the light side to let the light in, John the Baptist.
I say build a snowman, but we don't have enough.
Okay, snowman if there's snow. Snowman if there's snow. What are other things we can do if it's getting dark? Strategies.
Visit somebody who needs companionship.
Visit somebody who needs companionship. Think about other people. Wow. That is a stirring thing that can change up how we our perspective.
Send Christmas cards.
Send Christmas cards. Send a note. Well, see, stuff's going to happen, and you got options. Because that's what we learn at church. The Bible's been through it all, seen it all, and the desire is to equip us with light so that we can be partners as Jesus addresses darkness, mental health, social situations, global situations, terrible things people say. It can be just so dark. But we are made of light, we are made with light, and we are given resources for dealing with it. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with is that you, through Jesus, you have spiritual light within you. And you can cultivate that light. You can apply that light. And it is not your ego. It is Jesus Christ within you, bearing light on situations. So go apply it. In Jesus' name, amen.